Karl Konrad and welcome to Australian Immigration News, proudly brought to you by Australian Immigration Law Services here in Sydney. During the month we will bring you updates on what's news in the world of Australian immigration, and be sure to get the latest by subscribing to our channel and setting up that notification bell so you won't miss an edition. Freedom of Information Laws has uncovered confidential Department of Home Affairs incoming government brief given to the incoming Labor government after its election victory. According to the briefing paper, as of the 13th of May 2022, there were 962,679 non-humanitarian active visa applications on hand. They consisted of 571,386 temporary applications, 149,874 skilled applications, and 232,331 family applications, including about 54,000 first-stage partner visa applications and 9,088 resident return visa applications. Of these, 130,638 are in visa categories subject to capping and/or queuing. This visa cap is set annually in a legislative instrument based on the migration program planning levels. As an example of this is the 143 contributing parent visa, which only a set number is granted per financial year. The briefing document gave a stark outlook to the new Albanese government. In order to reduce the pipeline, the government would need to allocate more places to these programs. Not only will the migration intake need to be increased to accommodate the huge visa backlog, if they want to provide opportunities for potential future hopeful applicants, there would also need to be an additional allocation of places. The briefing paper also highlighted the number of visas granted from November last year when the border opened, and the number of people who arrived up until the 15th of May this year. The number of visas granted were over 537,000 visitor visas, 92,000 student visas, 67,000 working holiday making visas, 52,000 temporary skilled and other temporary workers. You can also see on the table the number of visa holders who have entered Australia. Since the borders have reopened, the number of temporary visa holders in Australia has grown by over 243,700 to 1,850,000 as of the 15th of May 2022. The same FOI request revealed the actual electoral commitments by the Labor government in relation to migration matters: a stronger Pacific family plan, the introduction of a new Pacific engagement visa to be introduced in July 2023. Up to 3,000 visas would be allocated annually by a ballot or lottery process, with applicants being aged between 18 to 45 years of age, having a job offer in Australia and some English proficiency. This commitment aims to increase people-to-people links and strengthens the relationship with Pacific countries in Australia's national security and foreign policy interests. We have received a number of inquiries of what's happened to the agricultural visa announced last year. Well, effectively it's not begun yet, but the FOI indicates negotiations are underway with Indonesia and Thailand, and a MOU has been signed with Vietnam already. Make it easier for foreign workers to gain permanent residency. We are hoping the short-term stream 482 visa can access the 186 employer nomination PR visa in the near future to meet this commitment. Progress the Australian-New Zealand resettlement arrangement. The government has already announced its intentions to give New Zealand citizens a new pathway to PR. Migration as a way to fix the aged care crisis and recruit overseas health services. According to the FOI document, the department has been in discussion with representatives from the aged care industry and the Department of Health about labour agreements to address persistent workforce shortages. It also mentions that target selection of the Skill Select Expression of Interest database will occur to seek out registered nurses. The department will initiate the first round for 2002 to 23 in July 2022. As yet, the details of any invitations issued in July are yet to be released, but we'll keep you posted if they have occurred at all. Increasing the temporary skilled income threshold, known as the TSMIT, this is currently set at $53,900. For those on the 491 visa looking to apply for 191 visa in the future, do not be concerned. If this figure rises, there will be a transitional arrangement for those who have already been granted their 491 visas. Return the Nadesalingam family to Biloela, Queensland. On this last point, the government has not only met that commitment, but they have also recently granted the family their permanent residency. The minister in his press release made this following statement: "This government made a commitment before the election that, if elected, we would allow the family to return to Biloela and resolve the family's immigration immigration status. Today, the government has delivered on that promise. In a separate media release, the minister focused on the plight of Ukrainians who are already in Australia. Additional support will be available to Ukrainians and their families who choose to apply for a bridging visa E or a protection visa. Depending on the type of visa sought and granted, this may include eligibility to receive Medicare, work rights, or eligibility to apply for work rights, publicly funded schooling for children, and access free translating and interpreting services. He went on to say, Ukrainians and their families who wish to extend their stay in Australia or explore migration options can also continue to access alternative visa pathways, including the Skilled Family, Student or Visitor Visa program. Although we have to wonder why anyone would apply for a visitor visa with no work permission or other rights when you are encouraged to lodge a protection visa with all the working benefits, Medicare, schooling, etc. Whilst on the topic of protection visa applications, an FOI request has highlighted that there have been nearly double the number of appeals lodged to the AAT. Refusals for the 886 visa subclass are up from 19,474 to 36,226 as of the 30th of April 2022. The refusal rate for protection visa applications by the Immigration Department is about 90%. In relation to housing people in Australian immigration detention facilities, the FOI revealed some startling figures on the costs associated with keeping one person locked up for a whole year. Are you sitting down? It is $428,542. This is an eye-watering amount of taxpayers' money that is so high it's actually difficult to believe. So we have provided a link to the FOI request so you can read it for yourself. As of the 15th of March 2022, there were 1,512 in immigration detention within Australia, of which 129 of them had been there for 5 years or more. Perhaps a better solution could be found instead of detention, and perhaps the $250 million just housing 129 people for 5 years could be better spent elsewhere, like hospitals and nurses. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to get the latest news updates. As always, take care out there, and I'll see you next time. So bye for now.